always football time. This is what makes our heart beat.
Welcome back to our English Premier League review show. It's Matchday 2 this week. There's still one game left. We've got the West Ham Leicester, but we're kickstarting it straight away because there's been some crazy games, crazy upsets. But I want to kick straight into it. I'm your host, Aaron. I'm joined here by Tony, got Morty, and Campo who's back with us this week. Pleasure to have you with us, mate. Got the Wi-Fi sorted. We're good. He's got the Spurs top on as well, of course. Good win. I'm repping the Chelsea. Tony, I don't see your jersey, mate. Everybody else got one on. Where's your United jersey?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on.
Missing that, are we?
Obviously not a good result, but we've got the Italian one on, so we're winners in our own right here still.
The European champions. I see. We're gonna jump straight into it. We had Liverpool kicking off the match week against Burnley, 2-0. Morty, take us through it, mate.
It's a very physical game. Burnley like getting under our skin, and it's a pretty big test for Van Dijk. I mean, it's probably his most physical test so far. Maybe not as defensively, but just a physical upbringing in the Premier League. He did pretty well. Mane on the score sheet could have been on 4 times, but the bloke just he scored at least. Like, we'll leave it at that. He could have had plenty more opportunities. Salah unlucky that game. You know, he had his chances, but kind of towards the end, he was just shooting for fun. The game was pretty much gone at that point. And all round, Henderson back. It was just a solid performance from the boys. I mean, you can't ask much more against Burnley. You know, no team really puts 5 past Burnley, so pretty happy with the performance.
Is it just me, or does Salah and Mane never score in the same week?
No, they do. Right. They can. But at the same time, you just look at it and go, well, Mane's going to have a good week, or Salah had a good week last week, so Burnley's whole tactic
take it in turns,
shutting down Salah, and then Mane can go for.
Yeah, well, Salah obviously had that goal disallowed, which was a tight one. Harvey Elliott played 90 minutes, was it? I believe. So was it close to 90?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, close to 90. I'm pretty sure. I think
solid game from the 18-year-old. But as you said, Mane scored. That was a great goal. Played in by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Goal. I think the first goal was brilliant though. Diego Jota drifted into that little pocket of space in front of the 2 centre backs, snuck it in there. He's basically taken over from Firmino, hasn't he? A starting striker, you'd say.
I don't know if he's going to be starting all the time. I think it's just good having some changes up front. So you come into certain games, and whether we play Firmino or we play Jota, it's a different game plan for teams having to defend them. So I think it's just good having some options up top to give some boys a rest.
You always need competition as striker. It's no secret about that. And I think just Diego Jota just come in and kind of made Firmino work a bit, which is good to see. But as you said, 2-0, I think Burnley had a couple of decent chances. Dwight McNeil looked really good in spurts. I think he troubled you quite a bit. But as you said, Van Dijk, he's just getting his legs back and he's getting better and better again each week. And going into Chelsea this coming week for you, it's perfect time for him just to be getting minutes in his legs. Matip started yet again.
Yep. Although at some point in the game, he looked like he got concussed heading a ball away. So I don't know if much more came out of that, but he did stumble out of it somehow. But
so you might see Joe Gomez back in there. Do you remember Gomez came off the bench, didn't he? 10 minutes.
He came on and played the last Eve. He was more of a wasting time.
Yeah.
Anything.
Well, I'm pretty sure we all watched this game because it was the 9:30 kickoff for us. It was a good time. Tony, do you have any thoughts on the game yourself?
Oh, like Morty's pretty much summed it up, and he summed it up well. No one goes out and has the chance to batter Burnley. Burnley probably were unlucky to not get at least a goal. I think Alisson pulled out a few decent saves. Van Dijk had a massive block at the end. Overall good performance, and it shows when you attack for majority of the game. Van Dijk was still switched on in the last 5 minutes, I think it was, when he made that block. And even Alisson was switched on when that was offside, but he stopped that one-on-one. So not much.
I suppose the best keepers in the world, the ones you don't ask for much of, but when you do ask for them, they're there. And that's just exactly what Alisson does. He's not troubled too much. He wasn't troubled too much last week, but then when he was called upon, made a triple save. Gets the 3 points for you. So it's good. Campo, do you have any thoughts on that one before we move on?
I was just surprised at how well Burnley played. Usually they just sit back and take pressure. This game, you saw them actually fighting for the balls, actually working the ball up, not just lob it up.
Yeah.
Chris Wood.
They still did it most of the time. The only time they sort of did it was when they've lobbed the ball up and they've successfully controlled the ball up.
You saw them using the wing a lot more, not just, here you go, Chris Wood, have good luck. Just, they actually got the team involved, the wingers involved, and they created a lot of chances. So
yeah, they did. They boxed Liverpool in at times, but I think to keep it up for 90 minutes at Anfield would be a tough task. It was nice to see Anfield back full capacity, singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" for 5 minutes and then not saying anything for the rest of the game. I really appreciated that. Had to get that in there. Anyway, we're going to move straight through. Villa took on Newcastle 2-0, I believe. Good result for Villa, bounced back after their poor game against Watford. Newcastle a little hard done by. I don't know if you guys saw that offside call, but it was probably as tight as you can get these days with the new ruling. I think they were overlapping, but I don't know. How do you guys see that call? Because that's probably the closest it comes with the new ruling of the lines overlapping.
I didn't really see how tight it was, but when I watched it, watched the replay back, I thought that's a bit rough. I saw Newcastle also had a penalty.
Yeah. It's kind of like, you know what, it was close, but if the rule is they have to be overlapping, they have to be overlapping. And as we saw with obviously Salah's in the Liverpool game, there was that little gap and they let it play. Yes, this one was closer, but there was a gap. So, we can't really argue if it stays consistent.
It's very tough. What was it? Danny Ings opened the scoring with goal of the season contender. I don't think it will get goal of the season. I think there'll be plenty better, but it was a phenomenal strike. Tony, I know you have a bit of a personal hatred for Danny Ings this week. You said he didn't do anything this week.
Besides the goal, everyone's talking up of how well he played when there's at least 5 other players you could put before him.
That's the thing, mate. You get the goal. It doesn't matter how well you play.
Yeah, but Mings got 2 assists and everyone's gloating on Danny Ings where Mings cleared a ball and almost scored an own goal. So he almost scored up one end. Then he got 2 assists at the other end. What more can you ask from him?
It's good to see Danny Ings hit the ground running, though. Obviously, I thought he could have taken that penalty, but I'm pretty sure El Ghazi has a 100% record from the penalty spot. So
he does,
he's taken them. But yeah, 2-0 result. Callum Wilson had a decent chance, 1-on-1 with the keeper. I think that was pretty early on, 4 minutes or something in. Just completely scuffed it, put it wide. So could have been different. Newcastle didn't look amazing again, I don't think. I still think they're trying to find their feet. I was talking to a Newcastle fan this weekend, and he was saying Steve Bruce out, basically. He basically said, put me in charge, and I'll probably do the exact same job, if not better. And we're talking through the Chelsea game, which is a bit later, but he was saying back 5 just doesn't work for Newcastle. And I said, look, there's some teams can play the back 5, but you really have to have the players to do it. And I don't think Newcastle have it. So I think they need to change up and start getting a bit more attacking because they've got St. Maximum on the field and he's trying to create chances but can't do it all himself, you know what I mean? So
it never looks like he has any support up top.
Exactly. And so 2 losses in a row now for Newcastle, already in the relegation battle, which they probably would have wanted to avoid for as long as possible. Villa turned it around, good result for them. Going to take you into Palace versus Brentford here. First draw. I think, did we all have this a draw? I don't know what you guys tipped it. I definitely tipped a draw, I know that. And then to put it politely, I think Campo would say it's an absolute snooze fest. Would you put it that way, Campo?
There were literally no chances created the entire game. There were half chances, but there was no clear cut. It was just boring.
I think both teams would have gone out this game and thought we can get 3 points here, especially Palace coming off the back of a loss and being at home now, Selhurst Park. Would have wanted 3 points, but I think Brentford will be the happier of the two. To have 4 points from 2 games, first season in the Prem, it's already reminding me of Sheffield United. So I think it's going to be a good season to watch them, I think. Tony, did you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, like we said, Brentford, it's a snooze fest. Brentford will be happy to be on 4 points, and I think Palace will just be happy to be off the mark and get their first point of the season. So I think the less said about this game.
Right, well, you've put it politely there. We're going to go into Leeds Everton. Cracker of a game, this one. we were always going to be high scoring. 2-2. Everton penalty early on. Question marks over. I think it's a blatant pen. He's grabbing him all day. And then who was it that equalised? Click, I believe. Bamford plays him in. Good little finish there. Ellen Road was literally electric. Like, if there's any stadium, one of the stadiums you want to go to in world football, it's Ellen Road on a Premier League game. It was crazy. It's good to see them back in the Premier, 17 years away. Anyway, and then who got the second goal for Everton? It was Damari Gray. That was a strike. I don't know if you guys saw that. He's looking real good, like real good for Everton. I think Leicester would be kind of annoyed that they let him go a few years ago because he's looking good. And then Rafinha did probably even better with his thunderbolt strike. Absolute bullet, as you said. 2-2. Bit of a hot-head game. Plenty of chances for both teams. Morty, did you have any thoughts on this? I know you love Everton, obviously, being a Merseyside faithful.
No, it's pretty much as we all saw it happening. We all called it to be plenty of goals in this one. Everton looked a bit shaky towards the end, like I just didn't finish out the game, like complete opposite the week before. And Leeds just looked like typical Leeds. They, all out attack. If they can see them, they're just pushing forward to get more goals. And unlucky for them, they didn't put another one away. So
it's always going to be their downfall. They're going to concede goals. And I don't know, when you're at home to Everton, you're going to need to put at your best defensive display, and they just don't have that. So they would have thought this game could have been easily a 3-point game for them. I think Everton will be happy to walk away with a point here. Rafa Benitez has started pretty well with them. He's got them playing some good footy. But yeah, Leeds, it's going to be the story of their season, I think, like it was last year. It's going to be so entertaining for the neutrals, but for them, being a Leeds, like if you're a Leeds fan, you just headache each week. I think you'd probably be losing hair every week trying to support them, especially after their loss against United last week when one of Tony's mates didn't speak to him for a week that was Leeds fan.
You're still not talking to him. I got 1 week.
We're going to talk into a whitewash here. City 5-0 over Norwich. Nobody didn't see this coming, to put it politely, Norwich's way. It was always going to be one-sided, start to finish. It was just a case of how many goals were they going to score, I think. Tony, I think you correctly predicted 5-0 last week.
Yeah, obviously, there was always going to be a blowout. I don't think anyone saw it any different. We're probably lucky that Liverpool didn't do this to them last week. So, yeah, I predicted the 5-0, and I don't get many scorelines correct, so I'm going to take this one and add it to the little tally board. And, Man City just looked flawless. I mean, we watched a bit of the game, Aaron. We spoke about it a little bit, and I think for 85 minutes, I don't think they went past halfway, Norwich. Like it was horrendous.
Well, big talking points, Jack Grealish, first goal for the club, home debut. It wasn't the prettiest goal, but you take them at the end of the day. I've scored plenty of those in my time, and I love them, each and every one of them. Jesus started on the right, which was a bit interesting, playing Ferran Torres up top, but bloody looked like Ronaldinho out there on the right. Scored he got 2 assists and probably technically got the assist for the own goal as well. So look good. Just another spanner in the Pep roulette, I suppose. Not starting Mahrez, although he did come off the bench and score. So it's a headache being one of those City wingers because you just never know if you're going to start each week. So maybe they don't need a striker after all. What do you reckon, Campo?
Hope not.
Kane to stay now?
Yeah, I think he will. We don't have enough time in the window now to get a striker we want.
Yeah. Well, we'll see in the next week or so. What is it? Literally a week, I think, today.
Yeah, I think 7-8 days, yeah.
So, yeah, who knows if City go for anybody else, though, or if they're going to... We spoke a bit about Lewandowski, or if they're just going to be happy with their winger roulette. Anyway, I think this is going to be one of City's easier games this season. It was basically the same as last season. Brighton at home to Watford, 2-0 result. I went the opposite way. I thought Watford would win 2-0. But Brighton, another win, 6 points on the board for them. Good game. Watford, I don't think looked amazing. Campo, what are your thoughts on it? Obviously, that second goal you did enjoy.
It was just, I couldn't believe what I saw from a professional footballer.
We say that every week now, don't we?
Don't worry, we'll get into Fred a little bit later, Campo, and we can talk about that as well, all right?
We said professional footballers.
Just schoolboy mistakes at Watford, It's going to kill them. You got to, you're in the Premier League now. You can't be doing that. Championship, you might get away with it. But
Well, they were almost flawless last week against Villa. Yes, they coughed up 2 late goals, but it was enough. And then the opposite this week against a team that probably on paper isn't as good as Villa. And then, the opposite result, 2-0 loss.
Fair
But
play
I
to
think, 100%. They're up 6 points from 2 games. We all probably had them close to the relegation zone as we do most years. But again, they seem to be surviving. They're looking good. Morpay scoring goals. You can't ask much more of your striker. I think Basuma looks quality in the midfield, and I think it's probably who Arsenal should have gone after. If not, maybe Spurs, or I don't know if even United should look at it now. The only problem is the English tax is probably going to cost them 60 million. So,
and then the United tax on top of that.
Yeah, but that's one to watch for next season. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes either in the winter or the summer transfer. But there's not too much to add for that game. We will, however, get into Tony's favourite game of the round. United's 1-1 draw away at Southampton. Take us away, mate.
I think, let's be honest, when the lineup came out, I wasn't shocked that we went behind, if I'm being completely honest. Obviously, the 2 defensive midfields when we played it against Leeds last week works because they don't sit in a deep block. But when you've got a team like Southampton who were in a deep block for the start of that game, I don't know. I don't get why you're going to play 2 defensive midfielders there. I'm sure I'll get roasted here for my bench players soon by Morty. But obviously, like we've said before, that you've got Van der Beek, you've got an aging player, you've got Mata still that can unlock a defence.
You've got
you
Lingard
had Sancho who didn't start. You've got Lingard. Like, you've got the players who, if we had that extra attacking player, we probably would have broken down earlier. But yeah,
the thing I had with this game is, yes, you said you don't need 2 defensive players. However, why not rock with the exact same defensive players as last week? Why change McTominay, who is much more agile, fast-paced compared to Matic, who literally will slow the game down to a T. He will make a cup of coffee before he passes the ball. So, yes, McTominay is a holding midfielder with Fred, but Mick Fred, as you like to call it, it does work because McTominay likes to get the ball as soon as he can to Pogba's feet, to Bruno's feet. So I think had you gone with those 2...
Yeah, I mean, we've got a few United mates, and we've had this same discussion that if you're going to play Fred, you can't play him with anyone else except for McTominay because he complements him. Fred makes a mistake, and we don't see much of it because Saucy's there cleaning up. But in saying that, Ole went out, obviously started Sancho on the bench, started Varane, who we kind of spoke about would be on the bench. I didn't think he was going to start, and yeah, I guess we've got some expensive toys and they're all sitting on the sideline. Yeah.
I think had you have taken the lead early on with that Martial chance, I think you would have run away with the game. I don't think Southampton would have kept their heads, but the longer the game went on, Southampton grew into the game more. And I think Tino Livramento looked phenomenal at right back. Obviously, was bought from Chelsea, as most players are. He looked class at right back. Che Adams looked decent up top. Got that opening goal. What are your thoughts on the opening goal? Do you think Bruno foul? Yes, no?
It was soft. If you're going to give it, it's soft. It was soft.
Yeah, I say no, but I do think that some refs would give that. But I think
fair. the refs have been told this year to not give away easy fouls. I think last year that 100% gets pulled up.
Well, I guess knowing the fact that you can go back to VAR, so you don't want to give something and then not let a chance develop, because you can always just go back and overrule it. I think it was a good call. I think it was the right call. But yeah, Fred got that own goal, and then United hit back. It took a little while, but they hit back in the second half. Pogba looked decent. Little assist again, 5 in 2 games for him. Greenwood, another goal. So, and that's kind of just where it fizzled out, didn't it? Like United, I don't think they really looked like they were going to win the game.
No, it was in spurts. We only had about a 20-minute spurt where we looked like we were going to, when we got that goal, about 10 minutes after that, we looked like we were going to get a winner. But besides that, we didn't really offer much.
Draw a fair result, or you think you deserve more?
Well, I think a draw. I mean, you've got to look at who had the more clear-cut chances. Yes, we had the Martial one where he headed it. The same play, Lindelof probably should have scored, but then they had that one-on-one with David De Gea at the end. So,
yeah, I think
in the scheme of things, yeah.
I think if Armstrong has it in his right foot, he probably scores that. And yeah, But
I think if
probably
Armstrong
lucky that-
realised how much time he had, he probably finishes that.
Another good point. We're going to go into Campo's team now. Wolves 1-0 defeat at at Spurs. What was your thoughts on the game, Campo?
Both teams started like they wanted to attack, and then a lovely little bit of play between Reguilon and Dele. Draws a penalty, slots it after 8 minutes, and then it was just like, all right, boys, we're 1-0 up already. Sit back and just defend. And we just hit him on the counter, and we got peppered for 80 minutes of that game, and we stole 3 points at the end.
I mean, at the end of the day, you look at the table, you're on 6 points off 2 games. You've already played City. And Wolves, not the easiest team to go to. So I think you take that. Yes, you haven't scored a lot of goals. You're not taking all your chances, but you're taking the important ones. And as you said, you got 6 points at the end of the day. You did get battered well and truly. That's why we've put little Hugo Lloris right down there in the little corner because we've got to give him some praise. Adama Traore missed a sitter as he did last week. I might keep a tally actually how many one-on-ones he misses this season. So I think it's going to be
I said last night that he would be the best player in the world if he could shoot.
He would. The physicality on the bloke is phenomenal. The speed, it's literally just lacking end product. Because nobody wants to even go to him. You see him running at you and you don't want to tackle him.
They found to run at the keeper.
Yeah, literally. He just needs to try around the keeper, not actually shoot because it doesn't go well. He needs to pass the ball in, I think. But you'd be happy, Campo, obviously, as a Spurs fan, 6 points.
Oh, yeah.
Your North London rivals, 0 points.
Makes it even sweeter.
So, it was a decent game. I had that game going at the same time as the United game. I mean, eyes were peeled to the United game, though. So, but I did see, obviously, a couple of chances. I think that the triple save that Sarr made on Bergwijn and Son.
Yeah.
And obviously we mentioned Kane a bit earlier. You think he's going to stay now? He came off the bench. Didn't do much, did he?
Missed a line, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he got played through and then tight angle. Keeper saved it, but it was a bit unfair to say he missed a sitter.
But you think he's going to stay now? And do you think the fans will welcome him back?
Yeah, as soon as he ran on the field, everyone was cheering. One of our own again. I was forgiven.
Fair enough.
Can I ask Morty there? I just want to ask Morty. Morty, what are your thoughts on Kane? Do you think he's going to stay, or do you think City will meet the offer that Spurs want?
Kane is the ultimate professional in he's not going to go and sit there and have his little temper tantrum made public. He will do his little stuff behind closed doors, and you don't know what's going on with him. But at the end of the day, if he at start on the pitch, he'll go up and perform. But I still don't see a world where he's staying at Spurs happily. And if he's there one more year, I could see Kane just hanging on, running out of contract, even just going, well, not letting me go now.
How long has he got in his contract?
3
years.
He's got 3 years, has he? Oh, geez.
He shot himself in the foot then, signing a new contract.
Yeah, but if he doesn't, he's not going the next week. He's not there next year. He can't.
Yeah.
Yes, Spurs beat City, but
imagine the scenes. City offer 160, 180 million on the final day, and Levy goes, "Yeah, I can't pass that up," and then you're left without a striker. It's a scenario.
Yeah, Tottenham
it's
also
very
lost
likely.
to
City
we
have
couldn't
that
pronounce
money.
Yeah, well, as you said, I think if he does stay this window, he'll probably stay in the winter just because I don't think Tottenham, he would refuse to sell him in that window. But then I think it would be next summer he's gone. Well, he wouldn't stay another year. But who knows? He might have a UEFA Conference League title to add to his name, pending they turn around their 1-0 result against Paulo Ferreira.
That's the thing at the moment. If he goes, we have enough depth to play our kids in the Conference League. I hope we get knocked out. I really do. I don't want to waste my time watching us versus chocolate bars. I don't care about it.
You lose to the chocolate bars. Last year.
Yeah, I'm happy to lose to him. Get us out of that competition. Let just Son, Lucas,
you can be like Arsenal and focus on the league, but don't actually focus on the league.
Exactly, but our attack looks really good when our fast players are breaking at the moment, and we've got one of the fastest 3 at the moment. If Son, Bergwijn, and Lucas are running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
do you think Kane, based off this game, starts next week?
No. it's Watford, so I reckon they'll play Kane in the Conference League just to make sure that we get through. But I'll probably be we'll play Kane in the Conference League because
this is
I
the
never
same squad
thought-
that was in the Champions League final 3 years ago.
yeah.
I never thought I'd hear someone say we're going to have to play Kane in the Conference League to make sure we get through.
It's a Sunday league. It's literally a Sunday league comp. I think you could play Wickham and they'll probably put up a better fight than these,
I don't know.
these boys.
Our 18-year-old kids just couldn't shoot, so
First time
Just
playing
on
abroad,
Kane,
I suppose.
One more thing on Kane is if he doesn't go this transfer window, you move into next year. There's only a certain amount of teams that can afford to sign a Kane, but you're also going to have Lewandowski up for probably a last challenge of his last 2 years. You're going to have Haaland up for the big money move. You got Mbappe getting frustrated at PSG. There's only so many clubs
as well.
There's only so many clubs that can afford these players. And arguably you're going to take Mbappe and Haaland over Kane just purely on the age, and Lewandowski will probably come 60, 70 mil cheaper. So who's buying him if City end up with one of those ones first?
It's a Levi masterclass. He's not losing his star player.
But then
Absolutely.
you got a player who's not happy either.
Yeah, you're going to end up and then you're never going to see any return from Kane. You're going to have him score his 20 goals, not win anything, and then you're going to get nothing for him when Kane leaves on a free.
I don't think Levy cares about the return. That's the thing. He wants a player who can. He wants that striker who can score, probably break the Alan Shearer record. Because I don't see Harry Kane going abroad at all.
no.
He doesn't. I mean, yeah, he'd fit any league because he's a world-class striker, but I just don't think he wants to. Can't speak, obviously, personally. But, yeah, I don't think he would. But, yeah, so you're right there. There's going to be a lot of players there's going to be a lot of strikers up for grabs next window or next summer window. So, yeah, maybe Levy's doing it smart. Who knows? But
So,
depends on
Aaron,
what.
before we move on, I'll introduce this game. North London is North London's what colour?
London. Well, North London would probably be white, but London as a whole is well and truly blue, mate. It's well and truly blue. It's been blue for a while now. It says it right there. Arsenal 0, Chelsea 2. Did it at the Emirates. Second coming of Drogba. I said it last week. It happened. Lukaku took 14 minutes to get on the score sheet. Literally bullied Pablo Mari and Rob Holding all game. It was unfair.
Not hard to do.
No, but it was unfair. It was like watching Year 12 keep the ball from Year 7s at recess. That's how embarrassing it was. Pablo Mari took a dive in his own box to avoid a goal. Didn't work. But, yeah, Lukaku opened the score in 1-0. Looked phenomenal all game. Hold-up play, great. Literally what we've been lacking this whole time. Did think Werner would start with him, but it was a great decision by Tuchel because Havertz played phenomenal. Mount played great. Reece James, second goal, great wing back positioning play. Tierney was caught lacking inside because he had no cover. And yeah, 2-0, we just all over them. It was just dominance from start to finish. I think they had one or two decent chances. They had a penalty shout, which I haven't seen anybody actually say it's a penalty. I don't believe it was a penalty. So yeah, it was just dominance in the London derby. Not much to say about it, honestly. Like, it was just Arsenal are in the mud, well and truly in the mud. Camper will be loving me saying that. I want to ask you, Camper, real quick. How long do you think Arteta's got?
Arsenal don't really like to sack their managers during the season, really. They don't. Get to the season, end it, and then part ways, and then try and recruit. So, but
do you know when the North London derby is? Just quickly, is it how far away is it?
Around 5 or 6, I think.
Because I think if he loses that and they're still sitting below 15th, he's gone.
I think they play Wigan.
So it's a month
they play Wigan in the Carabao Cup on Thursday.
They'll probably lose that, to be honest with you.
If they lose that, I reckon he's gone because that means they're out of all European competitions. They're out of the cups.
They've only got FA. They only have FA Cup left, yeah. Which, to be fair, they
focusing on the league.
They do well. Which one? The championship next year?
Yeah, the championship.
The conference.
They wouldn't even win the championship if they were in there right now.
I don't think they would. No,
they don't have.
They'd be in the playoffs. They probably might not even make it up.
Their team just doesn't play attractive football anymore. The Arsenal that we knew growing up, who were always prided as the team that played the best football in the league, don't play the best football in the league anymore. They've got they're trying to play formations that don't work for them. I don't think Arteta is cut out for it. I think had Arteta been at any other club, Chelsea especially, he would have been sacked 4 times by now. I think it's just Arsenal giving him time. He's had a couple of windows now to put some transfers in place. Signed Odegaard for
200 mil he spent.
Most of any
spent
club.
117 this transfer window.
Yeah, more than any other club in the Prem. And how much for it went towards a backup goalkeeper who is probably not going to get a game because Bernd Leonard's actually playing well. Saved another Lukaku chance. Could have made it 3. Should have been 3, 4. And had it been a bit more embarrassing scoreline, I think there would have been a lot more heads turning. But 2-0 probably looks respectable on Arsenal if you don't watch the game. But from a Chelsea point of view, over the moon result because they did the double over us last season. So to get that back is nice. Yeah, somehow. But yeah, to get that back is a nice little feeling. But yeah, 6 points off 2 games. Got Liverpool coming up this week, which we'll get into in our preview pod. We can't ask much more, to be honest with you. We will do a combined XI, myself and Morty, in the coming days. I don't know how that's going to go. We're going to have many disagreements, I can only assume. Especially over that.
Can I just jump in there? Can I jump in there? Seeing we're on the talks of an XI, we have had one message come through, a question for you and Morty to kind of tackle each other. It came in from Claude, and he wants to get your opinion on James versus Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I think we'll keep it short for this one, but it's going to be obviously a big talking point in the combined XI pod. I'll go first. I think James is well clear. Just as an overall footballer, as an overall right back, he offers far more than Trent Alexander-Arnold.
What formation does Chelsea play?
Well, the thing is with James, though, he can play as a right centre-back or a right wing-back. Versatility. Would you ever play Trent Alexander-Arnold as a centre-back? No.
But we're not asking whether it can be a centre-back or not. We're asking if he can be a right-back. And
we can because we've played plenty of games. We've played plenty of games in a back 4, and Reece James has done perfectly fine.
That's fine. But when James plays his back 4, he doesn't get anywhere near as far forward as his attacking right. Trent does it all day, left, right, and centre.
How often does Trent get caught out? Whereas Reece James, you'd likely to see him get caught out defensively.
Yeah, but
if we're talking wing backs, who's better in a back 5? Who's better? Trent's better in a back 5. How? You don't play a back 5. But you don't play a back 5, so how would you know?
He does it in a back 4. He does better than the wing back in a back 4 than he does.
And he leaks many goals down that side in a back 4.
No,
you're lucky that you have Van Dijk to cover him.
But that's why
we're stuck with Christensen to cover.
Yeah, that's why you can pay 3 of them there.
It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. I think we're going to have to agree. We'll get into it. We're going to have to agree on a back 5, and we're going to have Reece James as a right centre back, and because it's just not going to work any other way. But we appreciate.
I think me and Campo are going to get to pick the formation, and then you guys can pick the lineups out. I think that's how it's going to have to work.
It's just never going to be agreed. But we appreciate the question, Claude. We obviously know who I'm going to go for. We know who Morty's going to go for. But yeah, look out for our combined XI for that one. That'll be interesting. Looking forward to it. We're just going to wrap up this post. We've obviously got the West Ham Leicester game tomorrow morning. Campo, we haven't got your prediction for that. If we could just grab that real quick.
I think Leicester will get it done. I think West Ham still suck.
That's the personal hatred towards West Ham continues.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Well, we'll see you again for our combined XI and our preview show next week. See you later.
Peace.
Struck